Now, looking at this, the 14 responses, probably minus the 4 that I posted. There's a few of you, but there's a minor few lah ni. You guys are 53, there's only 10 responded. So that is what, 1/5 of the class. But anyway, those who responded, thank you very much. Although these are all, I know, internet questions. Because none of this is your own view in terms of what you think the defect is or how you can minimize the defect. But anyway, the rest of you can have a look, and you guys can keep on posted. I will just look at the setting. I don't think there's a setting of time here. I think I don't put any time limit. So you guys can continue to add in if you want to until the end of the week, and then I will probably post a new one. Okay, so let's see how this week goes on. All right. So enough about this. Let's open the PowerPoint. Okay. How many of us now? 43. Okay lah tu. Okay. Now we looked at sand mole versus metal mole the other day, and we have agreed and understood that sand mole is different, especially in terms of the heat transfer rate, because sand is sand lah, ceramic material. So therefore, the thermal conductivity is not high. Okay, so if you are comparing between a sand mole and a metal mole, the longer the distance from the surface of the mole, the temperature gets lower. So therefore, if you need to transfer heat, it becomes lower. So sand mole solidification rate akan rendah, metal mole solidification rate akan tinggi. So if you are comparing between the performance or the properties of the casting product dia tu, metal mole obviously ada advantage sebab dia akan bagi grain yang kecil. Okay, solidification rate tinggi, grain dia kecil-kecil berbanding dengan sand mole. Sand mole ni biasanya kita akan dapat dendrite. Okay, and therefore shrinkage problem akan lebih tinggi berbanding di metal mole. Okay. Tak nampak. Okay. Kenapa screen saya macam ni ni? Tak apalah. Okay, so some example of expandable mole ini adalah investment casting ataupun low wax. So dia mula dengan bedai, and then dia mula dengan waxnya dulu. Okay, sebab investment casting ni dia datang dari perkataan investment. Okay, dia kena invest in making the mold. Itulah ada tuang. Okay, so kita kena bina dulu wax. Wax ni adalah pattern, baru kita dip dalam pasir. So dia panggil stuccoing sebab pasir ni dia panggil stucco. Okay, and then dia akan dip beberapa kali. Okay, these are repeated. Selari coating dengan stuccoing ni dia akan repeat sampai dia dapat thickness yang sekendak, and then wax buang, casting, dapat produk. Okay, forward ini another gambar. So kalau you nak gambar yang lebih menarik, dekat internet tu ada banyak gambar orang share. Obviously, I'm not that good of a drawing person. So saya ambil dia dari Google. Alright, so this is step tadi tu lah. So sama ada selari dan pasir different bekas. Ada yang dia dah campur selari, dia dah jadikan ceramic slurry. So di pasir dengan solvent solventnya tu dia dah campurkan, siap the resin tu, and then so dia akan dip a few times and then dapatlah produk. But I like this photo better. Anyway, loose foam slightly different story sebab the foam ni akan lost dalam mol. Kita tak keluarkan pattern tu. Okay, ini adalah foam. Foam, apa benda lah yang putih-putih ni? ABS lah. ABS foam tu, dia lah. Okay, so kita buat pattern, and then kita coat, and then bila kita pour in the molten metal, molten metal ni panas kan? So the foam ni akan lost. Okay, nama dia lost foam casting. Okay, but yang ini kena be careful. Sebab apa? Let me find highlight here. Nanti you tak nampak orang pointing at. Okay, yang ni. So, bila the foam ni is polymeric material lagi eh. So, bila dia kena molten metal yang panas, dia akan evaporate. Dia akan burn off lah. Okay. Bila dia burn off, dia akan meninggalkan carbon residue dan juga gases. Okay, as the reaction, dia akan ada gases lah. So, venting system sangat-sangat critical. Okay. Sebab itu pemilihan pasti, size of the sand is very important in this case. Sebab the sand must be loose enough untuk allow the gases to go out from the cast. Okay. Sebab itu biasanya kalau lost foam ni, you akan nampak the sand is compacted within ini apa nama dia? Casing. Dia ada bekas. A container macam ni. Sebab because kita nakkan permeability, kita nakkan lubang-lubang for gases to to escape. Jadi the mold is not strong enough. So, kalau kita tak bubuh di dalam container macam ni, the mold will just collapse. Jadi tak kuat Okay, so permeability and strength are two different things. Dia dua ends. So kalau you nak permeability tinggi, strength you akan lose. So, kalau nak strength tinggi, you kena pakai sand yang lebih halus. So, bila compact tu, mold kita akan strong. Tetapi dia ada pro and cons lah. Okay. You tak nak dia strong sangat sampai tak boleh allow permeability. But you don't want it to have too high permeability sebab nanti mold you tak kuat. Okay. So, there has to be a combination from these two ends lah. Right. So, ni shell molding. So, shell molding as the name implies, mold dia setakat shell saja. So, mold dia nipis. Like a shell lah. So, dia buat, ni cope and drag-nya. Tapi bila dia combine, and then dia dapat finish casting lah. There's a better view here. So, ini cara dia buat dia punya shell tu. Shell dia nipis ni biasanya dalam a few 1-2 cm. So, dia nipis. So, you jimatkan sand per mol. Dan bila you pour, you dapatlah ini produk dia. This is permanent mold. Obviously, permanent mold dia kena ada ejector dan dia juga ada a ram to push in the molten metal. Okay, so ini kita punya mold. So, bila dia tutup kiri dengan kanan, pour in dalam screw sini, dapat produk. Ini contoh piston. Okay, so this is another drawing. Okay, mula ada dia punya clamping unit, etc. Okay, another variation is squeeze forming. So, squeeze forming simply is a die cast. Tetapi the molten metal is squeezed into the cavity. Okay, applied pressure. An advantage dia because a very rapid heat transfer. So, dia dapat for free fine grain casting. Okay. So, this is a very good proses untuk dapatkan near net shape. Shape dia hampir kepada produk punya shape. High quality component. So, biasanya otomatis akan invest di dalam teknik yang lebih canggih ni. Centrifugal datang dari perkataan centrifuge. Bila dia berpusing, your molten metal akan flow in following the shape. Dia dapat bulat. Ini biasanya untuk cylindrical shape. Ideal for making seamless pipe. Pipe you tak nak ada seam, so you boleh guna cara ini. Okay. Lagi. Ini pressure die infiltration. Ini biasalah pressure die. Okay. Tetapi ini diolah ataupun slightly dimodified untuk MMC, metal matrix composite. Lama dah tak buat composite. And semi-solid casting. Semi-solid casting adalah satu advancement dalam casting in the sense that instead of you pushing in molten metal completely liquid, sekarang ni molten metal itu kita sejukkan sedikit. Okay. So instead of a fully liquid, dia become semi-solid. Okay. So temperaturenya sedikit rendah dari melting point. Okay. So itu dia panggil semi-solid casting. Okay. Ada advantage dia lah. Dan yang tu kalau you are interested, you can go and find on your own lah. Okay. So ini bit of recap. Then investment, customer, permanent mold, low firm, die-cast, semi-solid. D proses, D the same lah. Okay. So ini saya nak ni dah kita dah tengok. Saya dah kita dah tengok ini. Okay, who is speaking? You want to ask question? Not dekat chat, tapi tak orang nak ask question. Tak ada. Okay, continue. Ini dah tengok. Now, these are a few design do's and don'ts. Dalam casting, kita kena ingat apa yang perlu adalah satu, molten metal must not be obstructed. Okay. The flow of molten metal must not be obstructed. Tidak boleh ada obstruction. Obstruction apa? Halangan. Okay. So the design must assist the flow of molten metal goes in. Okay. So kalau kita ada transition between different thickness, ni tebal, ini nipis sikit. So bila ada corner-corner sharp ni, dia akan mengganggu flow. Okay. So this is a better way. Kita bagi dia sedikit tapering kat sini. So the flow akan smooth je masuk. Betul. Right. So this is 4, this is good. Dia ada taper and dia juga ada radius dia. So there's design guideline in terms of transition of thickness. They should not exceed 1 to 4. Kalau width shape changes, kalau different thickness should not exceed 2 to 1. Okay. 2 to 1 means 2 sini, 1 sini. So 2 to 1 lah. Okay. Lagi, ni design consideration. Dia dah ada dah. Minimum, ini thickness. Okay. Satu tadi, kita nakkan ada radius. So dalam standard, casting ni standard, for different material slope ni pun kadang-kadang beza between material. Sebab apa? Different material has a different fluidity. Okay. So dia ada recommended radius dan degree of slope. Dia adalah. Ini dalam standard ada. And then dia juga ada, okay, Yulin, you want to, or you accidentally open mic. Okay, anyway, recommended minimum thickness. Sebab apa kena ada recommended minimum? Ini kita nak mengelak warping. Warping apa? Distortion. Okay. Goes in and out. Later dalam lecture note ada, so you kena belajar sendirilah. Sebab I'm not recording the session. Dia akan delay you punya line, the problem ini. Alright. So these are minimum section. Now, if you look at this, okay, look at the list. Dia ada minimum, dia ada desirable. Okay, now look at the process. Kalau you guna sand cast berbanding dengan die cast, if you look at the value, you would notice that die cast has a lower minimum thickness. Okay, tengok ni, zinc alloy, die cast 0.51 minimum thickness. So boleh nipis. Tapi kalau pergi ke sand cast, you won't find zinc alloy being cast in the sand lah. Selalunya memang die cast. Okay. Zinc ni dia tak pakai casting. Biasanya memang pakai die cast. But if you look at aluminium boleh buat compare. Sand cast is 3.18. die-cast 1.27. So it's half of the thickness. Why? Pergi cari. Senang je jawapan dia. So it's not that difficult lah. Okay. So dia akan ada shrinkage charity. Nak mengelak shrinkage charity ni, kita kena almost uniform thickness. Dia tak boleh ada gemuk sini, kurus sini. Dia tak berapa suka sebab you have a different transfer rate. A significantly different transfer rate. Heat transfer lah. Okay. So as much as possible, thickness ni kena uniformly within the mold. But if you cannot change the design, then you boleh opt for casting aid. Ada beberapa tool yang boleh diguna untuk speed up solidification. Kita nampak bawah dia besar. So apa dia buat, dia taperkan sikit. So ini pun sama. Okay, dan dia redesign. If you can. Kalau boleh ada design modification. Kalau tak boleh, dia pakai metal padding. Nah, yang warna biru ni adalah filler ataupun metal padding. Dia panggil seal. Kalau dekat, seal ataupun padding lah. Padding ni biasanya oleh kerana dia metal, so what it does is it increase the heat transfer rate in critical section. Okay, yang mana section dia tebal-tebal besar tu, so dia akan assisted by the metal padding. Okay, itu satu contoh ya. So ini beberapa redesign that is better. So dia tak mau ada sharp corner, dia tak mau ada hotspot in ridge. Ridge ni maknanya yang bercabang. Ridge. Macam kita punya ridge lah, dia ada cabang-cabang kan. So the redesign is recommended. Apa lagi? Seal tadi dah sebut, external seal, dia juga ada internal seal. Internal seal is the same metal with the one that we are casting. Sebab bila dia dah solidify, kita tak keluarkan it's going to be part of the casting. Okay, so dia tidak dikeluarkan. Kalau external, kita keluarkan sebab dia part of the mold. Kalau internal, kita biar. Okay. Section, apa lagi design do's and don'ts. Ini uneven shrinkage causing shrink marks. So, not good ya. Ataupun dia juga boleh menyebabkan void. Shrinkage, void. Okay. Kat kawasan yang besar-besar ni, yang gemuk ni lah. Okay. Uneven shrinkage also akan cause stress. Sebab dia ada shrinkage yang tidak uniform, causing high residual stress. Ia juga is very serious, boleh menyebabkan warpage. Satu benda yang kena ingat, material kita tidak suka being stress. Anything that is uneven, okay, metal tidak suka, dia akan be in stress. So residual stress dia tinggi. The moment you have high residual stress in component, they will easily fracture. Okay, sebab dia already in stress. Okay, apa lagi? Okay, this is my last slide. Some advances in casting. Now. Baru sudah berdua. Okay, anyway. Some advances in casting. So, kita ada vacuum casting. Now, vacuum casting ni ada dua. Satunya, dia vacuum dalam vacuum. Dia cast dalam vacuum environment. Okay. So if you type in the word vacuum casting, you akan dapati the answers given in Encik Google tu. Nanti dia akan ada dua-dua ni. But to make it easier, I put in slightly different term. Vacuum casting means you cast under vacuum. Sebab apa? Bila kita cast under vacuum, there's no oxygen. So, tidak adalah oxide. Bila surface of the casting kita tak ada oxide, also nitride certain element, dia akan form nitride bila dia jumpa nitrogen in environment. So, oxide dengan nitride ni boleh masuk ke dalam molten metal becoming inclusion. This is very dangerous. Dalam casting, company kalau ada inclusion serious itu. Sebab bila dia jual produk tersebut, kenapa ada annotate the chat content? You want to annotate the chat content or you... tak faham. Okay. Atika, why do you request to annotate? Ni tak sengaja, you accidentally click kot. Betul lah? Sekejap, kita check, ada answer juga. And I will just decline. Okay, sekejap tukarnya. Let me tukar ke highlighter lah, if you wanna see clearly. This is casting under vacuum untuk minimize inclusion. Okay, kita tak mau ada oxide, ada nitride that will go into the metal casting. So inclusion ni very dangerous. Okay, produk kita mudah fail. Bila the moment dia dikenakan loading, dia akan fail. Now the moment dia fail, bila customer tengok inclusion, dia akan patah balik ke foundry ataupun di manufacturer. Okay, that is not good for business. Okay. Now, satu lagi, saya letak sini vacuum assisted casting. Sebab apa? Yang tadi kita cast dalam vacuum environment. But here, the vacuum is used to draw in molten metal ke dalam mold. Molten metal is drawn into the mold using vacuum. Okay. So, vacuum ni diguna untuk push the molten metal masuk ke dalam mold. Okay, slightly different dengan tadi. So, less turbulent fill into the mold cavity. Ini advantage dia lah. Dimensional accuracy, clean appearance, good mechanical property. Now, satu lagi yang ni menarik. Ini kita panggil additive manufacturing. Okay, to make mold or core. Dia guna additive manufacturing untuk build the mold. So it is very interesting. Now, if you Google additive manufacturing, additive and mold making, additive manufacturing in casting, somewhere around that keyword, you boleh jumpa beberapa YouTube video that shows you how they build the mold or the core. Sama lah mold dengan core, is mold lah kan. Okay. And it is very interesting sebab you don't need a pattern. You print the mold directly daripada a computer. So dia akan build sand mold tu layer by layer. Sama macam 3D printing. Okay, 3D printing, kalau you dah pernah tengok sebelum ni, dia build layer by layer kan, using polymeric material. But now, they also have 3D printing untuk metal, especially the low temperature metal, aluminium, zinc tu. Atau dalam case ini, dia guna konsep lebih kurang sama, tetapi dia guna sand dan dia targetkan the resin. Okay, so dia akan build mold tu layer by layer, dapatlah satu mold sebiji. So ada banyak advantages. Okay, banyak-banyak boleh cari sendirilah. Advantages dia banyak. However, the cost is still expensive. Kebanyakan additive manufacturing mold making ni masih di peringkat prototype. Actually, diguna untuk prototype rather than actual mass production. Okay, sebab harga lah. Alright. So, lagi nak cover, tak ikut. 50, siapa tak datang? 4 orang tak datang. Anyway. Okay. So, this is my last slide. I will just stop sharing yang ni, Ustaz. Okay. 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 Dia ada banyak possibility sebab it depends on the actual process that they are doing. Okay, ni macam ni kan, reduce amount of gas, use slow reacting binder. Itu kalau kita tahu what is the binder. Okay, contoh kalau diberi dalam case study biasanya are given slightly more specific. Okay, dianya untuk contohnya kalau saya bagi shrinkage effect ni dalam case study as exam question, dia akan ada information sikit kat situ. Shrinkage in permanent mold ke apa ke. Permanent mold can happen shrinkage depending on design. Permanent mold tidak semestinya tidak ada defect. Dia akan ada kalau you don't properly control the whole process. Okay, so not necessarily kalau you pakai permanent mold you will be defect free. Tak semestinya. Alright. So, bila diberi case study dalam exam question, dia akan ada information sedikit. Okay. So, in answering, dalam nak menjawab, you tak bolehlah list causes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, minimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tak bolehlah macam tu. You kena look at the information given. So, dalam banyak-banyak causes ni, yang mana lebih sesuai? Bergantung kepada given case. Right? Faham This is typical. So, jawapannya pun general. Okay, dia tidak ada spesifik kepada proses yang diberi. Okay, ni kan. 1, 2, 3. So, dia ada banyak. Ways to minimize. 1, 2, 3. Macam tu. Okay, so you kena look at the condition given dalam case study. Ini yang talking about case study dalam exam question Okay, and then you have to answer according to the case study given. Kalau you jawab kalau you jawab secara umum macam ni, then I know that you don't fully understand. So automatic you tak akan dapat markah penuh. Okay, you kena be careful sikit kat situ when there's a defect question case study dalam exam. You kena baca betul-betul case study tu. See what is the condition of case study given. Then baru you jawab accordingly. Dia tak boleh jawab uniform lah. Alright. There. Tengok chat box, tak ada orang tanya. If there's no question, this is still open, Padlet. Now, see how saya, if needed, I will add in another Padlet. You can work on different case, or I do slightly differently, a forum or, I don't know, we'll see how. Okay, what are the other class activity that I can create? Okay, if there's no question, kita akan stop sini. Okay.